Hey, listen, I just want to call out one person.
And I hate myself a lot.
But stuff. You're getting punched in the dick.
There needs to be more Street Shark references.
I say who?
That's funny as hell.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Underqualified and Overcompensated podcast. I'm your host with the least most, sounding like fucking Britney Spears with a head cold. Rhodes.
You sound like Morse code with a cold. I don't know what the fuck is going on with your audio.
I said Britney Spears with a head cold. What do I sound like right now?
Like Morse code with a cold. Like
Morse code with a cold.
You sound like two Texas Instrument calculators fucking.
That's not right.
You sound like dubstep. Bad dubstep.
That's not okay. I sound fine on the stream. I don't know what's going on.
Do I sound fine then? Well, fuck it. If you sound
fine to me.
All right then. Fuck it. It is what it is.
You're just the only one who can't understand me. That's fine.
My internet took a shit last week, and ever since they did a fix, the internet has not been functioning as well as it should. So maybe that's why you're coming through shitty to me.
I could just be shitty. Like as a person, as an individual, and it's just coming through in your audio.
Okay.
But with no further ado necessary, ladies and gentlemen, the man's great. The man's just perfect. And look at this fucking dude. To my left, your right, it's Rico.
Is there someone else? Is my internet so bad that I can't see who the hell you're talking about? Oh, it's Rico. Hey, that's me. Hi, everybody.
You dumbass. Oh, now I'm lagging to you. Now you can't hear me in time.
No, I can hear you. It was a bit.
Oh. Oh. Welcome to the shit show, ladies and gentlemen.
To me, you sound like Soundwave from G1 80s Transformers. You look like you're hunting Optimus Prime right now. You sound like you're hunting Optimus Prime.
Well, I am hunting Optimus Prime. Bitch has got the secret. I don't know what it is, but it's a secret.
No one knows.
No, the shadow knows. So, the title of this week's episode is very well done, in my opinion. I like it. Pulls me in. The Lizard Collective is back. And not all Space Jams are created equal.
Yep.
Not all Space Jams are created equal, but
no.
The Lizard People, always a great conspiracy theory that I fucking love.
Tell me about what the Lizard People are doing now. What are they doing?
So the Lizard People, obviously, people think that Mark Zuckerberg, head of Facebook, is a lizard person because in the videos of him during like the Senate hearings, they say you could see like his eye blink the opposite direction, like a lizard does.
Okay, he's just a lizard American. Don't be rude.
Lizard American. He's just a guana American. But then, of course, people always thought, idiots, think that the government, people who run the government, are lizard people.
Okay.
Solid theory. Doesn't have any holes in it.
No, none.
So, with that collective thought, all in all, they're working together. And as of recently, the White House has come out and fully admitted with a statement saying that they are working with Facebook directly to censor false information and fake information about COVID-19 on Facebook.
Okay.
And so the White House, the government, has now officially come out and saying that they are working with social media conglomerates to censor information that is getting put out.
Wait a minute. I was told by so many people that the government has no influence on social media networks, and they cannot control the information that you're hearing. Are you sure? Did they admitted to this?
No, so they don't have any influence.
We're definitely going to be shadow
Yeah,
banned.
100% getting banned. I mean, we've been doing this for 2 years. We have 5 people who follow us.
That's what happened.
We're
We got
obviously
shadow
being shadow
banned. We got shadow banned. We had 20,000 plus for a couple episodes. Then we got too political and got shadow banned. Tell your friends about us.
Exactly what happened. So you're correct. The White House doesn't have any influence over social media, right? They have no control over them, but they can still work with them. So it's not like the White House is like, hey, Facebook, limit these people. They don't have that kind of power politically, or not really politically. Of course, they have political power, but like officially, legally or anything that way. They don't have any control over private media companies.
But they can make their lives significantly harder.
Yeah, they can with sanctions and different things through the FCA or not FCA. It's not the future. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes. FCC. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes really getting them down.
The Brotherhood of the Ring, they're getting them down. I don't know.
No, they could go through
the Lizard Ring.
And I don't even think the FCC limits Facebook. I think that's just like movies and TV shows.
Yeah, it should be.
I'm not sure. The internet's weird when it comes to its limitations. Yes. But they're working together. They can approach Facebook and be like, hey, and I'm sure there's some backdoor dealings going on there as well. Like, hey, we'll let you keep your autonomy if you limit some of this information that's getting put out. Yeah, right? So they did come out. What is her name? Jen Psaki, which is the White House press secretary.
I missed the previous White House press secretary, but that's a story for a different day.
Right. So this one, she does well at her job because she just comes out, she says what she needs to fucking say, and anyone who has bullshit, she just glosses over it. She's very straightforward. She's like, this is the information I'm putting out. Fuck you, guy. You shut up. This is the information. Deuces, bitches, I'm out. So she does a good job. She doesn't get caught in the rabbit hole like the last press secretary under Trump. The latest one, he had 5, but
yeah, Kayla McCaney. She was a G. She rolled out there, straight gangster. Jen Psaki, she seems to, every time I've seen her, she seems like she's struggling. Maybe we're watching on different days.
Well, no, so she gets caught in corners. Jen Psaki definitely gets caught in corners because, and you're actually correct, there is a public affairs office in Hollywood that works directly with Hollywood to make military movies and TV shows. You are correct.
Especially the ones where a uniform appears correct. They've had government input.
The uniform is correct, and and it's in a positive light of the military. They sanctioned that. They worked with them. They didn't give them funding, of course, but they gave them access to the official stuff. When you see actual military equipment, a whole fucking platoon of strikers. Yeah, they were working with the Army pretty fucking closely on that one. You can't just get that shit.
Those are the only working strikers. The rest are all deadlined.
Yeah, but the one when they have the Cold War era Soviet fucking striker. No. They bought that. Military did not sanction that. But Jen Psaki, she just gets caught in corners because she comes out, she says what she needs to say, and then someone asks something that needs a fucking answer, and she just goes, "Nope, not answering that." And you're like, "That's a little sus."
We did not discuss Tyler. He died. No.
Yeah. He died in a terrible car shark accident.
Just kidding. He is.
He
we
went
discussed
online
it
and
last
he said,
week.
"I will not commit suicide. Here are the files about Clinton." And he spontaneously.
They found him hung in a Spanish prison. After our shadow ban, they decided to shadow ban him in real life, not just the internet. That said, he is PCSing. He has made his way safely to the States. He is enjoying time with his family, so we're not bothering him with this episode. We didn't even pester him like we normally do. We love you, buddy, and he will be back soon.
Can't wait for him to be back. Can't wait for him to be on the same timeline as us. And ladies and gentlemen, The time may change that we go live on the weekend due to the fact that he will be back here. We may end up like doing it later in the evening at more nighttime. We'll kind of feel it out from there. You guys let us know your opinions on what is more of a convenient time that you think for you and the other viewers might be.
And we're always on the internet. You can watch it whenever you want to. I mean, the live experience is great, but you can watch it whenever you want to. And
all of our episodes are finally updated on Spotify.
Woo!
Because I did my job. And I uploaded those bitches the other day while I was watching the Conor McGregor Dustin Poirier fight, which was obscene. But I digress. But yes, so Jen Psaki came out, said that they are working with Facebook to limit that information. And it's now that people and news sources are a little sketched out, rightfully so, that they finally came out and said, yes, we're working with Facebook and social media and of course the conservatives are going crazy with big tech now.
I mean, we all knew this. It's just, they're just saying it now. It's like,
yeah, if you're a company and a majority of your people are, let's say, liberal, right? And you don't agree with a alternate, political viewpoint, and you're supporting another political figure, of course, wouldn't you use that power to then limit those other people?
It's crazy. It's like,
especially in something as big as like COVID, and you're like, oh, these conservatives are putting out this dangerous information. Let's limit that shit.
This is like the scariest time politically. Everybody, it's the scariest time to have opposing views in my lifetime. I'm sure back then, before my lifetime, there was scarier times, the McCarthy era. But
the McCarthy era was rough.
I feel like this is the close equivalent to today's version of McCarthyism. It's crazy.
I think you're correct. I think this is very, very close to McCarthyism because we're not jailing people on like suspect of communism like they were back then. But when they couldn't find hardcore proof to actually jail people on that, they just basically blacklisted them.
Yeah. That's what's happening. That aspect of it is happening.
That is happening tenfold. Like
lizards, man.
There's a great movie. I can't remember the fucking name of it. Bryan Cranston is in it.
The Power Rangers.
Yep. Great McCarthyism movie.
So much McCarthyism.
Power Rangers versus McCarthy.
Rita Repulsa was shadow banned so hard she had to disappear for 1 million years and then come back to go to a Krispy Kreme or whatever to make a Goldar. That's right. I've seen the movie.
Fucking nailed it. There was zero things that was wrong with that synopsis.
Oh man, I've been gone for a long time. I'm going to Krispy Kreme first.
I'm looking real quick, just try to find it because it was a great fucking movie. Trumbo.
Well, I'm sorry, what?
Trumbo.
Oh, God bless you.
Yes. Trumbo. It was made in 2014. It was about Dalton Trumbo, who was a movie writer back. When was that? The 50s.
Okay.
50s or 60s? Was that?
You tell me. I've never seen the movie.
Well, I'm trying to remember the era of McCarthyism. Was that the 50s, 60s? Oh, 47. Back in 1947, Dalton Trumbo, he was a very acclaimed writer, but he was in favor of communism to a point, not like extreme communism, but basically the idealistic image of socialism and communism.
Right.
And he was in favor of that. And of course, during the McCarthyism, anyone who was remotely in favor of communism got either jailed, went to Supreme Court hearings, which he went to with his other fellow writers, and he ended up being shadow banned so bad that no one would touch his scripts, even though he was an award-winning writer. So he had to then, use a moniker and a different name and have another writer take the credit and, give him partial of the money. And of course, Bryan Cranston is an amazing actor. Yes. As it is, and he does great in this fucking movie. Louis C.K. is in it. He does great, even though it's fucking Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. is not a touchable topic anymore. He used to be hilarious.
This was 2014 when they
just don't jerk off in front of people.
It was 2014. Louis C.K. did do really good in this movie. He was a good character. And of course, they have a character who plays John Wayne, and all of his involvement. John Wayne was very influential during McCarthyism times in the Writers Guild and shit like that. So I recommend go watch Trumbo. It was a great movie, and it explains McCarthyism so well that you would then be able to translate that over to current times, which in current times, a current McCarthyism, which is pretty much just anything conservative-ish, and I will reiterate, as we always do on the show, we are not conservative and or liberal. A lot of us, we pretty much ride in the middle. Even Firth, who will say that he is a social, or what does he say? He's
a hard Republican.
He's a hard, but I mean,
hard conservative.
What's fiscally conservative? He's a fiscal conservative. He's a hardcore conservative, but he also.
She was so good that she was in the
now.
most recent Space Jam, and she wasn't the worst part.
For 5 seconds. He was in it for 5 seconds.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, but he is a hardcore conservative, but even Firth agrees with some, liberal viewpoints. He's a hardcore conservative, but he's more of a policy-driven conservative. Yes. He doesn't, have a problem with marijuana or gay rights or trans rights. And so that's kind of how most of this podcast rolls with the people here. But I could say that there is a definite fight against conservative ideologies.
Yeah.
Currently.
That's a word.
Yeah. It's not a word. There's definitely a war on conservative ideologies right now. There's a tiny little shadow war going on about Christianity and, their whole viewpoints, just overall conservatism, the war on the border at the White House. And, that it is definitely not the time to be a conservative. It's not even like a race thing, not like, there's a war against cis white males. No, it's just conservatism. Like a majority of the media and DC is liberal, and they are not okay with pretty much everyone else.
It's crazy. It's a crazy time, my friend. Crazy time.
Yeah, it's getting pretty intense. The lizard people are going hard.
Lizard people are going. I mean, the lizard people are infighting too, though. Like the Texas Democrats.
Oh yeah, within liberals themselves. They're also like shadow banning each other.
And the Texas Democrats that fled the state for the before that vote, and they I don't know if they have been, but they will be arrested upon return.
No. So and I did watch the news this morning.
Okay.
With one of the Republican representatives in Texas, and he said that they're not like getting jailed, but they will get arrested and taken directly to the House.
Yeah.
Of Texas and get taken there so they can vote. Because in Texas, it's against the law to just dip out because they need a majority. So you can't just dip.
Yeah, they pulled like a specialist in the army. I heard there was going to be some sort of brief, and they thought they were going to go to dental and get out of it. Nuh-uh.
In my personal opinion, they pulled a hard toddler move. Right?
No.
They're getting pulled into this vote, and they knew they weren't going to win because they don't have a majority. And so they just went, I don't wanna. And they just left. It's like, what does you leaving do? They're not going to change the bill. The bill is the bill. Like, that's what you're voting on.
Listen,
you're not going to win now that you left. You're just postponing the inevitable.
I still don't want to. And I'm going to leave. I'm going to take my ball, and I'm going to go. And
fuck you guys. I don't want to play freeze tag. It was 100% a toddler move. All 10 of them that left, and they got on a private charter jet with beer, right? And their pictures, and like they're taking pictures of them like in a hotel and like eating a salad on the plane, like they're in exile, like they're fucking running away from the Cold War Soviet Russia, like.
There are journalists and Democrats calling the day Capitol Hill got invaded as 1/6, like the equivalent of like 9/11. They call it 1/6. It's like this. We live in such a crazy time. And invaded it. I say invaded because that's the word that they're using allegedly.
The insurrection.
People walked in.
Yeah.
Yes, there was some bad stuff that did happen, but that wasn't much of a insurrection.
It was
invasion.
a terrible day, and a lot of douchebag, fucking terrible people. A lot of them broke into the Capitol building and assaulted a lot of good officers that were just trying to do their fucking job.
That part's bad.
Yes, and who knows what would have happened if they actually got into the chambers when the representatives were there. It probably would have been way worse. Definitely some people were there with some fucking homicidal tendencies. And yeah, some representatives would no longer be alive if they actually got in there. We're not going to gloss over that.
1/6.
But also, it's fucking cool it, okay? We're still here.
Still here.
Country's still here. We're all right.
And gas prices have gone up 400%. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean that has happened. But there's some infighting within Democrats too. AOC is going hard against the rest of her party.
She always does though. They had a mutual enemy in old Donnie T, but now that he's gone. And now it's just infighting because people still have their own agendas. It's all about agendas.
Oh yeah, like we'll get into it with like Cuba and stuff, but fucking AOC and her crew, they're fucking crazy.
Go fuck it, get into it. The lizard people
get into it. Get into it. I thought we were gonna get into some lightness real quick, but
we're gonna do what?
Get into some light topics real quick.
Nah, fuck it. Well, Space Jam is the fluff piece.
Okay.
And now for puppies.
But before puppies. Burning bodies. Much like any other news source when they're like, in Fallujah today, many people were burned, and they show videos of burning bodies, and they're like, and a squirrel learns how to water ski. You're like,
but first, in entertainment news, J-Lo and Ben Affleck moving in together again?
And bodies burning. I'm very confused. So, obviously, in Cuba, there is a little bit of an insurrection themselves over there, which is great. Obviously,
they don't even know what country they're in. They're waving American flags.
So that is one thing on Fox News. Like, they're getting a fucking freedom boner.
Freedom boners.
They're like, whenever these other countries, and it happened in Taiwan too, whenever these other places, they want freedom, what flag do they fly? The American flag. They're marching down, waving their own flag and the American flag because we represent freedom, right? And even though a lot of people feel like they're oppressed in this country and they have all these different things bearing down them,
we're not taking away from that.
No. There are certain injustices in the world, but the fact that you get to come out and say, "Hey, there's injustices against me," means you're free. Because in other countries, like let's say the Middle East or China, you go, "Hey, there's an injustice. You're gone now. No one will ever see you again."
You don't flush the toilet, straight to jail. You don't go to dental, believe it or not, straight to jail.
Straight to jail.
You ask for extra pickles on your cheeseburger? Yes, extra jail.
Straight to jail. Right? So like people who complain about the freedoms in this country, you get to say that there's injustices. Mm-hmm. People in Cuba and Taiwan and the Middle East, they don't get to say that shit because they'll disappear.
You've actually said Taiwan like 3 times, so we're definitely banned in China now. Taiwan doesn't exist according to China. John Cena even had to like make a video apologizing for talking about the premiere in Taiwan because he lose all those China bucks.
I don't give a shit about China. Tiananmen Square. Now we're definitely we're not even in China anymore. We're no longer. You say Tiananmen Square.
We were the number one podcast in China. Thanks, Cody.
We won't get those China dollars anymore. I'm sorry.
My bad, Winnie the Pooh.
No. But you have that freedom to speak out. Mm. And you should appreciate that just a fucking little bit.
Just a little bit.
You get the right to bitch, right?
Such a powerful ability.
Yeah, you have the right to say, I'm oppressed. Other people who are actually oppressed, they don't get to say that because they're oppressed. So you get that. So they're flying the flag in Cuba, saying liberty, because some of the more liberal news sites and representatives in Congress are saying that they're only doing that because they don't have enough supply of COVID vaccines. And that's not true. It's a culmination of shit. Like the COVID vaccine infrequency over there was the camel that broke the camel that broke the straw's back.
Yes. That straw's back is broken. Thanks.
That's because there's a camel on it. The straw that broke the camel's back, right? The needle
pocket that broke the pack of Camel Crushes.
Yeah. Camel Crushes.
What will I do without my flavor pod?
So that was just the final straw, right? And they barely have any food.
Yes.
It's all government ran. They only get the certain amount that the government gives out to them. They don't get to sell their own goods. It all goes to the government.
Yes.
And so they are fighting back and they're protesting against it. And they're getting jailed and killed in the streets because of it.
Yes.
And this is kind of a very large thing for that country right now. And a lot of people are saying that this is a culminating movement. This might be what makes it to where the tides will change a little bit. But with that, back to AOC, she has put out several comments and videos saying that, well, she basically sides with Cuba.
Yeah. She's not she's not talking about the restriction of Cuban refugees coming here. She's conveniently leaving that out. But everything else,
she blames us. It's our fault. Yeah, it's our fault.
They don't want Cubans coming here. Cubans come here and they're largely Republican. They don't want more of a conservative vote. Because guess what? They're dealing with Florida, fucking socialism and communism.
Yeah, you lived in Florida, so and I've been hearing that on the news a lot, that a majority of Cubans that come over and live in Florida, right? Because where they go first, they're largely Republican and conservative. And you lived in Florida for a very long time. So would you agree with that statement?
Yes. At least I haven't been in Florida for 8 years. Things change. The world changes. At the time, Cubans largely in that area are Republican, and they definitely don't want more of a Republican vote.
And I mean, that makes,
you heard it here first.
That makes sense. That 100% makes sense. Because if you leave a communist country and you come to another country and a part of their political system is a little bit, socialistic, you don't vote for them.
I just left this place.
Right? So, of course they don't want more over, but she's saying that, basically, she said, we stand in solidarity with the Cuban people and condemn the suppression of the media speech and protest. We also call for an end to the U.S. embargo and additional Trump-era restrictions that are profoundly contributing to the suffering of Cubans. So she's basically blaming the United States for the disparities in Cuba, which is fucking asinine, because we have the embargoes because any trade that happens with the United States goes to the government. You can't have trade with local producers of anything in Cuba because they're owned by the government. They're socialistic, they're communist. So the government owns everything. You can't be like, hey, local producer of fruit, I'm fucking a big fruit company in the United States. I want your fruit. You give them money and that person becomes wealthy. No, the government then takes their fucking money and puts it back into themselves and not into the public, because that's how communism works. But it's our fault for not doing trade with Cuba.
Yeah.
Basically, she's saying that we need to pay communism to help the people.
Duh. Let's just print more money. That's what we're doing anyway. This last year, come on.
Fuck it.
Just print more money.
Yeah,
just
right?
Print more money. What was the headline I saw? Inflation rises, but the good news is salaries also rise. Bitch, you don't know how that shit works? You can get paid more and the shit he's still worth nothing? Fuck you mean?
I've seen that a lot. They're like, people talk about, we're getting $15 an hour, and they're like, Yeah, because that now equals what $10 an hour
Yes.
used to be. With inflation,
Number
that's how
bigger
that
does not
works.
always equal number bigger.
Yeah. The reason why it was $10 an hour, before the $15 cap was because minimum wage used to be $7.
Mm-hmm.
And due to inflation through the last 15 years, it raised to 10. Now it's 15, so shit's more expensive because that's how numbers work. Yeah.
I was gonna tweet the SMA of the Army the other day after a couple drinks and be like, hey.
Thank God you didn't do that.
SMA of the Army. That's like cat card.
Pretty much.
But I was about to, because, dude, we've had this conversation before, and we won't go deep into it. But the American military, our funds are not increasing with everybody else's, and it's fucking insane. But that's we've beat that to a fucking dead
there's
blue
a little bit
horse
of a disparity
previously.
with like the the cost of living, and BAH isn't going up with, and we've talked about that. The fact that like me and Ashley looking at going and trying recruiting back home in Idaho. The BAH is well lower than what the average rent in the area is.
Crazy.
Yeah, like how do you?
I did see.
How do you expect me to even be
been
able to recruit there if I can't afford to rent? Not even buy, just rent a fucking house.
I saw it might have been the Army Times or something like that. It definitely wasn't Duffel Blog, but they were talking about
as long as it wasn't Duffel Blog.
As long as it wasn't Duffel Blog. Is Task and Purpose a bad one too? No, I'm pretty sure it was Army Times.
Well, they're both great articles, but not factual.
And they were like talking about how they're considering new soldiers coming in getting the equivalent of $15 an hour. That's great for them, but you're not going to see everybody else that's gone up in a while, that's been in for a while, go up to meet the difference. It's great for the new people. Could you imagine that? A fucking PV1 coming in and making as much as you do as a fucking 8-year, 10-year sergeant?
Well, no, but they just want to raise the E1 pay and not
they would raise the incoming pay. That was my understanding of the story, and that's crazy.
But not progressively raise it up the line.
No, you know how much money that
E1
costs?
raises to this much, and then E5 raises to that much, and then so far and so forth.
And I'm not shocked by that. I mean, that happens in business. If you're at McDonald's and the person that's already there is making $15 an hour, and the incoming person gets $15 an hour starting out with, they're not raising Todd, who does the fries, his money.
Who's worked there for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's business. It still sucks.
I mean, yeah, but the Army's socialist. So
we'll see. We'll see if it even happens.
The level should change. That's a very capitalistic approach by not raising everyone else's. But we're socialists. You can't mix the two.
Sure you can.
Yeah.
I could.
And as we've said on the show many times before, if you want to see socialism in action, look at the military.
Look at the military.
We are socialists. Fuck.
I posted something the other day. We're fucking tangenting. I'm sorry. It was a story about how childcare outside of the military wants to model their shit after how the military does daycare. That's fucking crazy to me, because substantial wait lists, and you're paying more if you make more, even though you're getting the same level of fucking service. It's like insane.
Yeah, there's a reason why I take my children to an off-post daycare.
Mm-hmm.
Because I pay the same rate as anyone else.
Yeah.
With 1, 2, 3 kids. No matter what, I'm paying the same rate as everyone else off-post. On-post, my 2 kids would cost more than the E1's 2 kids. Yeah. And they're the same age and need the same shit by like absolutely $200-$300.
Yeah, when we were in Germany, because my wife was a contractor, technically on paper we made more than E9, so we had to pay what E9's paid for childcare, as I was a specialist at the time. That and they factored in BAH money that you don't even put in your fucking pocket.
Yep, money that you don't even get. Over there, like I'm getting it now, but like when you're on post housing, when you're on post housing, it goes into your check and then immediately right back out, and so it gets added in. Stupidest shit ever.
Crazy.
Yeah, so that's why I take my kids off post. And I'd be pissed if they're like, hey, it's raising your payments for your children. I'd be like, oh, why? And be like, oh, this new thing that's coming out, due to your financial, stabilization,
Yeah.
you're now going to be paying more than the single mother. I'd be like, no. That's not how life works.
Does my kid get a golden diaper?
Yeah, does my child get more food than...
I mean, I don't want little Jimmy to get less food, but does my kid get more food because I'm paying more?
Yeah, so I think everyone should be able to get the same basic level of shit, right?
Yeah.
Like paying... But if you want more for your children or for your family, and you have the ability to pay for that, then you should get more. That's why private schools exist, right? Like everyone should have access to the same level of education that, puts everyone on equal plane. That is good and solid education. But if I want to pay for my kids to go to private school where it's better student to teacher ratio and, better equipment, and they can go to a private school with that, I'm going to pay for that. But if public schools are getting that same level, I'm not going to pay for them to go to private school because public school's the same shit. So
crazy.
The fuck's the point?
It fucks, they fucked.
Yeah, right. That's socialism, people.
That's socialism. We're not happy about it. People that actually deal with socialism are not happy about socialism. And I've been in a socialist situation for 8 years. It ain't great.
Yeah, and then just go talk to some people like, Cubans that have been dealing with it their whole fucking lives.
That's all they fucking know, and they are willing to risk their lives to get out of that fucking country.
In our socialistic experience, right, with the military being socialist, is good. Like, we're getting good shit. The Cubans' experience with socialism is not. Socialism. That's bad socialism. Like, the Army's socialism is good because they're giving us good shit.
I would use the word good loosely, but I wouldn't say bad, but
it's not like everyone gets shit. Like, we're all living in like one bedroom squalor. Like other countries.
And here is your conics. You get to share it with these 3 families.
Right? We're not getting that shit like they do in other countries. They're like, hey, we're giving you all this, basic level of living. Here's this. We give you healthcare, which is decent level of healthcare. Like, here you go.
Get all the Motrin and water you can handle.
Right. Like, here's housing. Here's even money for housing. If you can find a house that costs this much, which you won't because inflation. Unless you live like in fucking North Carolina in the backwoods. But here you go. There's all that. In Cuba, they just go, hey, we're actually going to take all your shit. And you all are going to live in these houses, these apartments that are owned by the government. And we're not going to upgrade them at all. We're not going to take care of them. That's on you. Yeah. By the way, you're going to have to go to this one place, which is government ran, to get your food once a week. And we get you a allotted amount of bread and rice and beans. And this is what you get. By the way, that's how this country runs. So, yeah, they're not very happy with that, the Cubans that are in this country. And they're like, but, and then people they're trying to figure out, like, what to do. You can't put more sanctions on a country that you don't even deal with, right?
I mean,
the United States, it gives Cuba, like, the most food. You realize we don't do trade with them, but we give them relief.
Yeah, we opened. Didn't we open up? Was it during the Trump administration? Because before you couldn't even travel to Cuba. Now you can travel to Cuba. Some of the embargoes were lifted. I mean,
no, it was during.
Was it Obama or?
It was Trump? During Obama. Obama opened it up, and then Trump kind of closed it back down. But you can still travel to Cuba. Even today, you can still travel. But the United States gives the most food and economic relief to Cuba.
Yeah.
So we don't deal with trade with them, but we give their people food relief and like FEMA relief and shit. So you can't say like we don't care, but people are trying, like, oh, what do we do? Do we, try to invade? Do we try to overthrow the government? Let them fucking figure that shit out. Like, we can't. Yeah, it's only
we got
90 miles away
troops
from
now.
Florida.
We just pulled out of Afghanistan. We can invade Cuba. That's like a weekend.
With Russia. They're still
Russia's so
allies.
far away. They're so far away.
You're right. They're not around. Like we could invade the country, take it over, and they wouldn't even be there yet. But
Hey, what's up, Grant?
Grant, you weren't first this time.
You weren't first, but you were first in my heart most of the time. Hey, Grant, do you think Russia's ICBMs can hit us if we take over Cuba this weekend?
Literally just in a weekend. This is a boys' trip.
Get it, loser.
We're gonna go overthrow a capitalist government.
I would say though that of the Cubans coming over, they're probably not as woke as Coke. Tell me how woke Coke is.
Woke Coke. So, you know what? Solid segue. Not even upset at this. So, real quick, just to cap with this, and then we'll jump into some more fluff pieces here. So, in a quick 5 to 8 minutes, obviously the Olympics is happening in Beijing this year, and a lot of people want to boycott the Olympics.
Okay.
Even though it's a year late, people are they really want this because the Olympics is big for a lot of different countries, but it's Tokyo. No. Sorry. Tokyo was a while ago. This is Beijing.
As long as it's not Taiwan.
Yeah. I don't know. Where the fucking Olympics at? What am I talking about? But people want to boycott it because of China, obviously, running the Olympics this year.
Hell yeah. It's going to spread like herpes. Those super sexually active fucking meat machines.
Yeah, no, I was correct. It is Tokyo. So
shouldn't second guess yourself.
Yeah, right. The reason why Beijing is coming up, right? So Tokyo is hosting the Olympics. Due to COVID, no one's even allowed to go besides the athletes that are going to it. How much wrong can you be? Oh, I can be more wrong. But the reason why Coca-Cola is coming into it, right, is because the largest sponsor, the largest sponsor of the Olympics is Coca-Cola, right? They're the largest sponsor of the Olympics. Coca-Cola is also largely ran in China. And they have a big footprint there, and they are a big defender of the communist regime in China. And so they want to boycott the Olympics that are just happen to be in Japan because of
that's racist. Japanese people aren't Chinese people.
You're right. But it's because Coca-Cola is like 65-70% of the monetary sponsorship of the Olympic Games. And due to China's treatment of the Uyghurs and basically their overall stance on just life over in China, they want to boycott it. And that adds into this Consumer Research, which is a kind of magazine article type company. They come out and they boycott certain companies with ads in kind of facetious, sarcastic ways. And so they came out with this.
We're gonna get ad striked.
Just drink Coke, the road to obesity.
You know what?
At Coke, we say we're woke. We sell drinks.
Is this a real thing?
Yeah.
China is our labor supplier that drives our stock price even higher.
This can't be a real thing.
So it goes on to talk about Coca-Cola's implications in country and world obesity rates.
Ashley feels attacked for some reason.
That's because her favorite thing is Coke.
Nose candy?
Like cocaine.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're attacking Coca-Cola because they are a leader in obesity or adding to obesity right in the world. And then also a lot of their supply chain goes through China. And so they are leading.
So, just so I'm clear, I'm very confused. That video was not from Coke. It was
it wasn't from Coke. It's from Consumer Research, which is a company. Sorry, I'm trying to explain a chain together thought process.
Okay.
I'm all hopped up on cold meds.
He doesn't know. He doesn't even know what country he's in.
I'm in Japan, Tokyo, China. Beijing, Tokyo.
This whole argument is as well put together as Space Jam. Hey, Rhodes, what's the difference?
We'll just dismiss what I was trying to talk about altogether.
You failed that one, dude.
We were doing good. Like I was factual on Cuba and the embargo, talking about the Texas Democrats. We were doing solid, fact check on point, and then all of a sudden I go to this fucking Coca-Cola shit and it just launches into the fucking air. It's just terrible. It was. I apologize, people. That was rough, skis. That was on me.
So what's the difference between Space Jam and Space Jelly?
What was that?
Space Jam made me want to jam my fucking eyeballs out. But I watched it for you people. I watched Space Jam, New
I also
Legacy.
watched it with my kids, and my wife's like, "You already know you're gonna hate it. Why are you watching it?" And I was like, "Because I need to talk about it on the show."
It was so bad. Hey, Grant, we can't touch this topic anymore. Cody already fucked it up.
I already fucked it. We can't. We'll talk about it next week. Can't fucking do it. I tried. Tokyo is in New Zealand now. I don't know.
Yep, it's in New Zealand. Space Jam. Can you really spoil this movie? Well, I will say it first. Space Jam: A New Legacy. That's what I was going for, but obviously I had to change it up. A New Legacy made the original Space Jam look like it made it look like
respectful
art piece. Like
it made it look like Pulp Fiction of animation. Like it was perfection.
Like the original Space Jam compared to the new one, it felt like an actual autobiography of Michael Jordan, and
it's like making the comparison between WAP and Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. Like it was not
here
good.
We go. You know what? Fuck it. It's my show now. Welcome to fucking Overreacted. Space Jam: A New Legacy. Holy fuckballs. This movie was so incredibly bad. It starts off with I don't give a shit. I'm gonna spoil this motherfucker right now because there's nothing to spoil. This movie starts
terrible
off
either way.
with it starts off with a back in time piece like the first movie did, and then let's go forward. Let's go past. That was all very touching. Always do your best, 100% every
Although
time.
it wasn't as good as the back in time beginning of the first one. The first,
of course
that
not.
Was great.
Of course not.
I believe I can fly in the background.
Yeah. And then we get to a meeting where algorithm is showing the algorithm. Also, the algorithm for the serververse is gonna go
First
ahead.
off, LeBron's a dick to his kids. LeBron's a fucking asshole.
LeBron just don't get video games, man. He's only done like 1 million video game ads and been on the cover of fucking video games and shit. But in this movie he doesn't get. Did we get okay, I thought we just got removed. I thought that was the alert.
All of a sudden,
they said Taiwan, now they're talking about Space Jam. Cut them loose.
All in all, also keep in mind that so my big problem with this whole movie, it was very forced, right? The first one, even though obviously it's Space Jam, right? The whole concept of it is outlandish, but the first movie, it flowed, it had logic to it, right? The alien, he wanted to take over the Toons, and the Toons were like, "Oh, we could beat you short aliens in basketball." And they're like, "Dope, we have powers." And they're like, "Oh, we need Michael Jordan." That is a logical line of like ideas. This Space Jam was very like, they knew where they wanted to go, which was the Toon basketball game, right? And they forced it to fucking get there. Because you already know what Space Jam's about. You've seen the original. Let's just force it there. There was no story progression.
So here's my thing. The the big thing that fucking LeBron doesn't want to do is he doesn't want to input his face into all these different properties. It's a dumb idea. This starts the whole combative thing between Algae Rhythm.
Is already in all of these properties.
That's what happens. They start going to different worlds in the serververse, and he's in the fucking Matrix. He's in
the DC universe.
He's in all.
Robin.
He's Harry Potter at some point. All the places that he said I wouldn't want to be a part of.
Actually, he's a Hufflepuff.
he decided so the movie tries to be like, hey, I'm self-aware. I wouldn't want to do this, and then they fucking do it anyway. It's absolutely fucking insane. This movie is crazy.
It's trash. Like,
it is a dumpster fire. It made the first one look so good, and we didn't overreact it on Space Jam. And said, just go see the first one. I will reiterate, just go watch the first one again.
See, and I'm not big on, obviously I like the stuff that I grew up with, but I can appreciate new things and reboots. Some reboots aren't bad, right? Like I grew up on the original Beauty and the Beast. The new Beauty and the Beast with Emma Watson, very good, very well done, right? It's not bad. Same with we did Mulan a while back. That was iffy, but it was well done.
I don't like Mulan anyway. The
I love
cartoon.
The original,
Nope.
and the reboot was well made, but it wasn't like well made comparatively. But it was still good, right? This Space Jam, even from the trailer, it was terrible.
The movie was worse than the trailer.
It was like, how can a hour and a half, 2 hour comprehension fully explaining things, because it fully explains nothing. And Algae Rhythm, that was fucking, you couldn't come up with anything better. You couldn't fucking work through that logic.
Dude, my head is going so many places. Let me think of some things I want to complain about. They had all the different characters from all. This movie was a giant commercial for Warner Brothers. So they had. They had on the court side, they had all these, in Step Brothers, when he says it's okay, my costume's not movie quality. They had non-movie quality characters, and they were distracting
shitty cosplay. Shitty cosplay characters like Game of Thrones, the White Walkers. The
White Walkers were so distracting.
It was the shittiest, shitty Mr. Smith.
Oh.
It was shitty cosplay. If you just went to Comic-Con and just picked all the neckbeard nerds out of the crowd and was like, hey, go stand over here. Anyone who's a WB character, go stand over here.
If your costume's good, you can't be in this shot. I need that guy who spent 3 minutes on his costume.
Yeah.
This movie was so incredibly bad. You think of something. There was something else I was going to bitch about. It was just a
the
2-hour commercial.
The Goon Squad culmination, right? If I was one of those professional NBA, WNBA athletes that were personified in that movie, I'd be upset.
What? I actually didn't. I don't know. I didn't care about the Goon Squad as much. They even had the old Goon Squad just in alien form as little.
They did show that. That was cool.
That's my other complaint. That they initially start off with, there's something like this. They imply, this seems familiar, but they don't
even
talk
when they're
about
going through the movies. They showed Space Jam. Did you see the original?
But they act like it didn't happen
poster?
at first, and then they go further in, and then it's like they're we couldn't get Michael Jordan this time, so we got Michael B. Jordan.
And so, and not only are the tunes acting like, we did this before,
but at first
the
they're not.
WB universe itself is like, we made it into a movie. Because there's a movie poster when it goes through at the very beginning, when it goes through all of the movie posters and all of the properties of WB, it shows Space Jam. And so, in theory, LeBron James would have seen this movie. And would have known better. It's just
the only thing that could have saved this movie is if Bill Murray would have showed up. That's the only thing.
That'd be so good. It was not good. It was not well done. LeBron James is not a very good actor.
He wasn't the worst part of the movie. The movie was
honestly wasn't.
it was. I mean, obviously, it was going to be a commercial for Warner Brothers to say we own all these characters. Like,
Right.
yeah, in case you didn't know, Warner Brothers is this, and this. But the movie started off with, I refuse to be that and put my face in everything. And then his face was in literally everything.
It was a cash grab. That's what this movie was. It was supposed to be a summer tent movie, and it was a cash grab. Unlike the first one, where like you actually felt like you were a part of the movie. And I still feel that way when I rewatch it now. Like, it had a storyline, it had a progression. There was a point to it. It wasn't just over the top. This is what we have.
Yeah.
You know, it
There
was. This
was
is
a
the Looney
point to
Tunes.
this
You haven't
movie.
seen them in years. Like, that was the point of the first movie.
You couldn't connect with it because it's so stupid. Like, just the human element of the story and Algae Rhythm was just so stupid that you couldn't connect with the underlying story. It was bad, and this is our overreaction.
It was not good. It was not good.
That's the end of Overreacted.
Oh.
Again.
Yeah, that was so bad. But just to cap it off, last 5 minutes that we have, ladies and gentlemen. So let's talk about some Marvel real quick, right?
It's Cody's show again.
Welcome. So let's talk about Marvel real quick. So Loki finale.
Yes.
Right? So and minor spoilers, people. Rico, how fucked do you think Sylvie made the universe?
So for them, fucked. For us as the audience,
Yeah.
this is going to bring everything in.
If she just would have gone with the plan and been like, okay, I'll listen to you, dude. Like, that sounds logical. Like, if she would have gone with Loki, it probably would. Yeah. That would have been nothing. It would have been fine.
This opens the door to. This opens the door. I mean, we haven't said anything, have we?
I don't know if he's mad at us for spoilers or if he's just like, what the fuck about the episode?
Okay.
I don't know if he's yelling at us. I think he's just like, what the fuck?
I feel like I'm being yelled at. No. I think as for the watcher, this opens up so much for the rest of the shit. Oh, what the fuck about the episode? Gotcha.
Was he supposed to be the watcher?
No. He's that's
Oh,
Kang.
You mean the watcher as us? Okay.
Yeah, as us, as the viewing audience. Okay. Sorry if that was confusing to my fellow
cinematically, it opens up a whole lot more shit. Right?
Roger. I had to watch the episode twice because while I loved the dude that played Kang, his performance, he was so fucking boring in Lovecraft.
Do you think he was Kang because they never actually like said the name?
Yeah, he was Kang. I mean, it's implied. He's been called the Conqueror. He's he's wearing the costume of Immortus, which is another version of Kang. It's definitely Kang.
Okay.
It's a Kang.
Rico knows more about the comic. I know a little bit. Rico knows more.
That is the most interesting interpretation of Kang in an entertaining way. If you read in the comic books, Kang is like whatever. Like it's a powerful character. It whenever he's around, big ramifications for the comic book universe. But I thoroughly enjoyed his interpretation. It took a character that I'm usually bored with and made him just exciting. So that was cool.
They made him very interesting. Very you cared about what he was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very gravitas and tension building. Right?
Yeah,
I was pulled
very
in.
Big performance, you know?
Because I was expecting like a big, bad kind of Thanos type of person, quiet, just straight to the point with what it was. And he's coming in, he's like, making jokes, and he's just like, I've seen all of it because I've been here for fucking ever.
The show easily could have ended with your normal fucking fist fight and everybody's fighting and then come together at the end. This was a big. It was risky, I think, because the majority of the episode was a monologue. Like you had a little bit of action peppered in. I guess we could have left overreacted up. He didn't tell me we were going into Loki.
It's fine.
It was mostly a monologue with a little bit of action peppered in. I'm sure there is. Croaky has got to be a thing.
I don't know. I've never heard or seen of Croaky before this point. You think it would have been like sprinkled into some lore there? Are you gonna find that Croaky meme that you put up?
Throg is definitely a thing. They showed Throg.
Throg is a thing. But this episode, it was good. There was like instant ramifications as soon as they went back to the TVA.
Yeah.
And I thought that this was just supposed to be a runoff one season, kind of like all the other ones. But apparently they renewed it for season 2.
Yeah, this one it
was
did
supposed to
well.
be a one season, people.
Yeah,
that was their intention, was one season, and then go on the ramifications of this season into the next, whatever show they were going to do. But it did so well, they're like, okay, we're going to renew it for season 2. There wasn't a planned season 2. They're gonna write it now.
If that guy, I'm shocked. Like I said, I had to watch it twice because at first I was like, this is great, but it's just a monologue. So I had to watch it a second time to fully appreciate it. If he didn't play that role so big and so interesting, that would have been such a dud of a fucking episode. Like just sitting there waiting for something to happen and then the end.
So
I think it is a different timeline. He's on a
So it is a different timeline. So what I think it is like the TVA is kind of outside of time, but it's also affected by events, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm assuming
Sylvie,
he's just another branch.
Yeah. So since Sylvie did what she did to the head timekeeper to Kang, it was already about to happen. It was already going to happen. So even though she sent him back before she did it, it had already affected time in that circle. So he went back to the TVA, and the events that were going to happen already happened. So obviously that infinite war had happened already. And so they're kind of back in the timeline because, as he said, now it's just going to be repetitious. They're going to go right back to that point anyway, because now multiple points of him are going to fight each other, and then one's going to succeed. And so they're kind of back in time, but in time travel is weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did enjoy the last episode of Loki. I thought it was good.
Yeah. Thought it was really good. Like I said, I had to watch it twice just because I was taken aback by the fact that it was mostly a monologue. But after the initial shock of that, it was good. It was good.
So also with that very last one, me and my wife watched Black Widow last night.
It was great.
It was great. It was campy in a good way because it was very
it didn't feel forced
funny.
for the jokes. It didn't feel forced.
No, it was not forced, and that was the great part. And that's why it was campy in its sarcasm and its humor, but it was very wholesome. It was very natural. The character of Elena, the younger sister.
Great. Oh my God.
She did so great. The way she just put in the sarcasm, it was very natural flowing. It was not forced at all. She played her character perfectly. And I know nothing about her character and how it was supposed to be played. All I know is that she did it fucking perfectly. It was perfection. The Red Guardian, I love that guy. He's a very good actor. They did very good with the Red Guardian, even though I'm a little confused because the Red Guardian is supposed to have battled Captain America.
That's my thing.
Right?
Do you think it actually happened? Do you think
in there the will be timeline? No, because
but Cap went through time. What if it's just what if he just fought an older Cap?
You're right, and then he didn't give him the shield until later, right? But if that would have happened, if he would have gone back in time, so that means either A, he kept it a secret, right? That he was actually still doing Captain America shit when he went back in time, but staying out of public eye while doing it. So people still think that he came out of the ice later, it didn't alter events. It did alter
a secret
events.
Mission for S.H.I.E.L.D. as Cap in the shadows.
Yeah, and
infiltrating Russia, an off the books mission.
It's not in the museum that he actually got revitalized early, right?
I don't think his character didn't. I think if they wanted to insist that this guy's word couldn't be trusted, there would have been more situations where he was just clearly lying about shit to make himself sound better. Yes, he was in prison. Yeah, talking himself up, but that was the only thing he said that was questionable.
But
So
then,
could it be
he asked,
questioned?
and then he asked Natasha, has he ever talked about me?
Exactly.
So that insinuates that must have
This
happened.
may have
that
actually
he did go
happened.
back in time, and then he started doing like secret Cap shit.
Because he couldn't be there like doing like, hey, I'm Cap, because he's got to let things play out the way that he did. Look at that dab.
Dab for Captain America. No, I sneezed. Cocaine.
I think it did happen. I think it did happen. I think we find ourselves in the situation maybe down the line where we get I don't know if they'll bring Chris Evans back to like
I don't think they will.
Show or a movie, something. I don't think Chris Evans done. I think Robert Downey Jr.'s done.
RDJ's done. The fact that they're not going to be in What If definitely means that they're done. But showing up in She-Hulk and Spider, I mean, that makes sense.
Yep.
But before that, I think Black Widow was very well done. I think it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was iffy about it, and I was hesitant. But it was very well done. I liked it.
The reason why I was hesitant is because I inherently hate prequels. There's no consequence in a prequel. You know what's going to happen. And I still enjoyed the fuck out of this movie.
Well, that's because it wasn't a prequel.
I mean, you know what's going to happen. So there's no consequence for her in that movie.
Well, yeah, like when she was falling through the sky and they were having that big battle. Like my wife's
neck's not going to snap.
My wife's like, she's not going to die. And I'm like,
exactly.
It kind of ruins it.
That's my problem with prequels. There's no consequence for the characters that you're in the story for.
Yes, but what was great was they didn't do. I thought it was going to be a prequel. Like I thought it was going to be like before Shield era. That's what I thought, and the fact that they did it kind of before Endgame story.
Yeah. The bridging Civil War and Endgame.
Civil War, yeah, that was good. I like the fact that they went that way rather than. And my wife thought the same thing. We both thought that it was going to be pre-Shield era shit. And the fact that they kind of tied both of them together was really good. I liked all the characters. All of them were hilarious. Even, the evil scientist mom, old school Evie from the Mummy movies.
I went back and watched both Mummy movies.
Because of that?
Yep.
Because of her?
Hey.
Even though she was only in the first two?
For being misogynist right now. She aged like fine wine.
She aged well. And my wife was so thrown off because either they did her makeup well or they CGI'd the shit out of her in the first part of the movie when they made her look young. Because she's like, oh, they must have found like a really good actress. So I was like, no, that had to have been her because they even used the dude.
Yeah, they used that de-aging shit on everybody.
Yeah, they used the dude.
Yeah.
And so like it must have just still been her, but she looked great in the first part. And then even she aged well. I had a crush on Evie back in the the Mummy days when I was younger. That was definitely a thing for me.
As far as what Vittner's saying, yes, I have seen that. That Daredevil will be showing up in She-Hulk, Spider-Man. I guess they're saying now that he may also. Before it was just going to be Charlie Cox as Matt. What the fuck is his name? I can't remember Daredevil's name now.
I just blanked it.
Yeah,
Matt Murdock.
Matt Damon. He was just going to be Matt Damon. Matt Murdock. But now they're saying that he will be suiting up in both series, the series and the movie. It'll be a new suit. Daredevil? It won't be the Netflix suit.
But it will be the Netflix actor.
It'll be the Netflix actor.
Okay, at least they're pulling that. That's good.
It may have nothing to do with the series, though. It'll just be the same actor playing the same role in different universe.
With that, though, because the storyline was the storyline in the Netflix series, but the actor was great. The actor in it was he did an amazing job as Daredevil. So I'm okay with them pulling him over. Like that's one thing that pissed me off with Justice League was that when they did the Flash, they didn't pull the CW Flash over into it, even though they're entirely different properties doing the same character. He's a really good Flash on the CW show.
He's supposed to be in the movie, though. He's supposed to be in Flashpoint.
Oh, as an alternate Flash?
Yeah.
Okay,
They're doing it.
That's
They're doing it.
fun. Okay, that's fun.
Because DC's super heavy into multiverse. Marvel does it, but I feel like it's a necessary right now to bridge those worlds that they brought in after the Fox merger.
Yeah.
True that.
They crossed over in the show. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going in comic books right now. I'm excited for the next. What's the next Disney Plus show coming out?
I think it's What If.
What If? Yep.
Yeah. And that'll
is the
it looks like it'll be the ramifications of Sylvie's Choice. It's the old Sylvie's Choice.
Yeah, it's the last recording of the can't remember the actor who played Black Panther. Yep. It was his last thing that he recorded and did as Black Panther before his death. And so that'll be a really good thing. And then Hawkeye, I'm interested with the Hawkeye pull-in because it goes into the end credit scene of Black Widow.
Uh-huh.
I think they're going to tie that into the new Hawkeye series.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I mean, obviously, right? They're like, and me and my wife, we'll talk about this next episode.
Uh-huh.
But my wife asked me, who the fuck is the chick who's, pulling all these anti-heroes out, right? At the end credit scene, she pulled, fucking low rent Captain America, fraternity boy Captain America, and then she
Michael Jordan is cool.
and then she's pulling in, Black Widow's little sister. Who is this lady?
In the comics, she's a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. She worked with Nick Fury. She didn't put the Thunderbolts together, but I think that's where they're leading to.
Okay.
I think it looks like they're leading towards a Dark Avengers Thunderbolts type moment. Thunderbolts would be cool because it takes, but I don't think you could do that in the movies.
Thunderbolts, that would be
Thunderbolts. It's just because people don't have enough. Marvel kills off a lot of their villains in the movies, so you can't have in Thunderbolts like the comic book where you have a group of new superheroes and everybody's excited, and the big reveal is they're all ex-villains still doing villain shit. It's just it's a con. So maybe it's Dark Avengers. That'd be cool too. It's just like
that's what I kind of felt, and that's what my wife pointed out was like it's like an anti-Avengers group.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense.
Dark Avengers
no longer
was
with S.H.I.E.L.D. She's doing her own shit, kind of sketchy government type shit.
Yeah.
Lizard people type things.
Lizard people. And controlling Facebook, licking eyeballs. That's the end of our... I got to go.
Yeah, Rico's got to go do things.
Yeah.
I was not intending to go into this a little farther, but Rico got caught up in comic book shit.
Yeah.
So I let him run with it.
Jerk.
But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Apex. Yes. Thank you for commenting. Please follow us on Facebook and Spotify and YouTube and everything else. We are on there.
We're on the Tamagotchi network now. Just find the old Tamagotchi. We're there.
Yep. Please follow us on Facebook. That's when we go live with our episodes every weekend. And then we also put it out on audio on Spotify, iTunes, everything that you can find on SoundCloud. So please like, share, subscribe. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you hate. Thank you for the love. We'll see you guys later. Go fuck yourself.